The earth beneath you can split open without a single warning, and by the time your brain registers what's happening, your entire world has already changed. One moment, everything is normal. The next, walls are cracking, shelves are crashing, and the ground itself feels like a lie. That is the terrifying reality of natural disasters. They do not announce themselves. They do not wait for a convenient moment. They simply arrive, and suddenly everything you assumed was permanent turns out to be dangerously temporary. And earthquakes are just the beginning of what nature can throw at you. Hurricanes come in like wrecking crews, winds powerful enough to rip rooftops clean off, flip vehicles, and turn random debris into deadly projectiles traveling at lethal speed. If you have lived through a major hurricane, you already know what it feels like to stand in the aftermath staring at your street, trying to process how completely unrecognizable everything looks. Then the power goes out. And people do not truly understand how dependent they are on electricity until it is completely gone. No lights, no phone charger, no way to access information about what is happening or when help might arrive. You sit in the dark and every sound feels amplified. That is when it hits you. We are embarrassingly reliant on systems that can collapse in an instant. Here is the uncomfortable truth that most people avoid thinking about. Disasters do not schedule themselves around your convenience. There is no advance notification. No alert telling you that a major flood will hit your neighborhood on Friday afternoon. It just happens. And the aftermath is absolute chaos. Emergency services get overwhelmed immediately. Roads become impassable. Store shelves get wiped clean within hours of a storm warning. And suddenly, you are competing against thousands of other frightened people for basic necessities like food and clean water. That is a position you never want to find yourself in. The destruction left behind is not a weekend cleanup project either. We are talking months, sometimes years, of rebuilding. Homes leveled, businesses erased, entire communities fractured. The emotional weight alone is crushing. Add the financial devastation on top of that. Insurance claims, temporary housing costs, lost income. It compounds fast. Relief organizations have been delivering the same message for decades. Prepare before disaster strikes, not after. Because once the emergency is already unfolding, your window of preparation has already closed. Having a clear plan and having your supplies already in place is what separates people who manage from people who fall apart. So in this video, I am going to walk you through the essential items you absolutely need to have ready before something goes wrong. Every single item I cover could genuinely be the difference between getting through a crisis intact or completely falling apart under the pressure. These are not luxury items. These are not nice extras. These are the things that keep you alive, functional, and mentally stable when the world around you is coming undone. And let me be direct about one thing. This is not about fear. I am not trying to push you toward panic. I am sharing what actual disaster survivors consistently say they wish they had done differently. Every single person who has lived through a serious emergency says the same thing afterward. I should have prepared sooner. Nobody ever regrets being too ready. The regret only ever runs in one direction. So let us get into it. 1. Water. You can go weeks without eating. You cannot go more than a few days without water. That is not exaggeration. That is basic biology. Your kidneys begin to fail. Your brain stops functioning correctly. Your body starts breaking itself down to survive. Water is not optional. It is the single most critical resource in any emergency situation. And drinking is only part of what you need water for. You need it to cook the food you have stored. You need it to clean wounds before they get infected. You need it for basic sanitation, washing hands, brushing teeth, keeping yourself from getting sick on top of everything else. The standard recommendation is 1 gallon per person per day. That sounds manageable until you do the math. A family of 4 planning for a 2-week emergency needs 56 gallons of water. That is a serious commitment of storage space. But you know what takes up even more space? A hospital stay resulting from dehydration or waterborne illness during a crisis. If you live somewhere hot, your baseline consumption goes up significantly. Sweating burns through your water supply faster than you expect. Always plan for more than the minimum. It is far better to have leftover water than to run out when the nearest clean source is inaccessible. Storage matters just as much as quantity. Use food-grade containers that seal properly. Keep them somewhere cool and away from heat and UV exposure degrade water quality over time. Rotate your supply every 6 months. It takes 30 minutes and it could save your life. Also maintain water purification options as a backup. Purification tablets, a reliable filtration system, or the basic knowledge of how to boil and filter water from natural sources. Your stored supply can run out. Your knowledge of purification never will. One more point. You do not need expensive bottled water to build your supply. Fill clean containers directly from your tap right now while water is freely flowing. 5-gallon jugs, clean 2-liter bottles, dedicated storage containers, all of these work perfectly. The cost is nearly zero. The only requirement is 5 minutes of effort. 2. Non-perishable food. Your body is a machine. Machines need fuel. When grocery stores are closed, damaged, or emptied out within hours of a disaster warning, you need food already sitting in your home ready to go. And not just any food. Food that lasts. Canned goods form the foundation of any serious emergency food supply. Canned vegetables, fruits, meats, soups, and beans. If it comes in a can and carries a shelf life measured in years, it belongs in your stockpile. Dried rice and beans are cheap, calorie-dense, and last nearly indefinitely when stored correctly. Protein bars, peanut butter, dried pasta, rolled oats, and powdered milk all deserve a place in your supply. Here is something people consistently overlook. Variety matters more than you think. Eating the same bland food day after day chips away at your mental state. Morale drops. Motivation disappears. Pack some comfort items. Instant coffee, hot chocolate mix, hard candy, basic spices and seasonings. A little flavor sounds trivial right now, but 3 days into a blackout with no end in sight, it feels like a genuine luxury. And do not forget a manual can opener. You would be surprised how many people build an impressive canned food supply and have absolutely no way to access it when the electric can opener stops working. Get 2 manual openers. They cost almost nothing, and backups always exist for a reason. 3. First aid kit. Picture this. Power is out. Roads are flooded. The nearest hospital is completely unreachable. And then, someone in your household gets hurt. A deep cut. A serious fall. An allergic reaction. What is your plan if you have nothing to treat it with? A properly stocked first aid kit is not a suggestion. It is a requirement. And not the small drugstore kits with 4 bandages and a single antiseptic wipe. A real, comprehensive kit that can handle genuine injuries. You need adhesive bandages in multiple sizes, sterile gauze pads and rolls, medical tape, antiseptic wipes and antibiotic ointment, tweezers, scissors capable of cutting through clothing, pain relievers including acetaminophen, ibuprofen, and aspirin, anti-diarrheal medication because gastrointestinal illness during a crisis is both common and dangerous, instant cold packs, a tourniquet, wound closure strips for deeper cuts, latex gloves, because treating someone's wound with contaminated hands creates a second problem. Having the kit is only half the equation. You need to know how to use it. Take a basic first aid course. Learn how to clean and dress wounds properly. Learn to recognize signs of infection. Understand what to do if someone is choking, going into shock, or experiencing a severe allergic reaction. This knowledge is either free or very affordable to get. It is invaluable when you need it. Keep the kit somewhere every person in your household can access it quickly. Not buried in a closet behind 3 boxes of holiday decorations. Seconds matter when someone is bleeding heavily. 4. Flashlights, batteries, and light sources. When the power dies and night falls, darkness sets in harder than most people expect. Human beings are not built for total darkness. Anxiety spikes. Simple tasks become dangerous because you cannot see. Decision-making gets impaired. Flashlights are obvious, but invest in quality ones. Not cheap models that drain batteries in 2 hours and produce light barely stronger than a candle flame. Get durable, energy-efficient LED flashlights that are genuinely bright. Stock up on batteries well beyond what you think you need. They are lightweight, inexpensive, and take up almost no space. There is no good reason not to have a full supply on hand. Headlamps are even better than traditional flashlights in many situations because they free both of your hands. If you need to cook, apply first aid, navigate rough terrain, or carry supplies, hands-free lighting is a major advantage. Candles and waterproof matches serve as your backup layer when batteries eventually run out. Just be disciplined about fire safety. The last thing you need during an already difficult situation is accidentally starting a fire. Solar-powered lanterns offer another reliable option. Charge them in sunlight during the day, and they provide hours of steady light after dark. No batteries required. No fuel needed. Simple technology that keeps working when more complex systems have failed. 5. Multi-tool and duct tape. A quality multi-tool earns its place in an emergency kit 10 times over. Pliers, a knife blade, screwdrivers, a file, wire cutters, a bottle opener, all packed into a single compact tool that fits in your pocket. When something breaks or needs improvising, this is what you reach for first. Duct tape is the other essential half of this pairing. The range of problems you can solve with duct tape during a crisis is genuinely impressive. Patch a leaking pipe, seal a cracked window, repair a torn tarp, fashion a splint for an injury, reinforce something that is falling apart. The applications go on and on. Add some paracord to your kit while you are at it. Strong, lightweight cord that can secure tarps, help build emergency shelters, hang food away from animals, create a clothesline, and serve dozens of other purposes. 100 feet of paracord costs almost nothing and weighs practically nothing. There is no reasonable excuse not to have it. 6. Emergency radio. When the internet goes down, when cell towers are overloaded or destroyed, and when your phone battery is dead with no way to charge it, how do you get information? How do you know if another storm is coming? Which roads are passable? Where emergency shelters have been set up? An emergency radio. That is how. Specifically, a hand crank or solar-powered emergency radio that receives weather alert channels and standard AM and FM broadcasts. No batteries required. No electricity needed. Crank the handle and you have access to a lifeline of information. During disasters, information is survival. Knowing which areas to evacuate, where flooding is heading, when rescue teams are arriving, all of this comes through emergency broadcasts. Without a radio, you are making critical decisions completely blind. That is a serious and avoidable mistake. Many emergency radios also include built-in flashlights, USB charging ports, and SOS alarms. Multiple tools in a single compact device. Get one before you ever need it. 7. Sanitation and hygiene supplies. This category gets underestimated almost universally, and that is a dangerous mistake. Without running water and working plumbing, conditions deteriorate quickly, and when sanitation collapses, illness follows closely behind. Diarrheal diseases kill hundreds of thousands of people globally every year. The overwhelming majority of those deaths are preventable through basic hygiene practices. Soap, hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol content, toilet paper, and significantly more of it than you think you will need. Heavy-duty garbage bags that can function as makeshift waste disposal systems. Wet wipes for cleaning yourself when showering is not possible. Feminine hygiene products. Diapers if you have young children. Toothpaste and toothbrushes. Bleach for surface disinfection and emergency water treatment. A portable toilet or a simple bucket system with heavy-duty liners and absorbent material like kitty litter can transform a miserable sanitation situation into something manageable. Nobody enjoys thinking about this category, but ignoring it does not eliminate the problem. It just means dealing with it without any preparation. A stomach infection or an untreated skin condition, when medical care is unavailable, can spiral into something genuinely life-threatening. Hygiene during a crisis is not optional comfort, it is a survival strategy. 8. Warm clothing, blankets, and sleeping gear. Hypothermia does not require extreme cold to become lethal. It can develop at temperatures as mild as 50 degrees Fahrenheit if you are wet, exposed to wind, or unable to dry out. Body temperature drops gradually. Muscles stop responding properly. Cognitive function becomes impaired. Eventually, organ failure follows. It happens faster than most people realize. Emergency Mylar blankets are a lightweight option worth including. They reflect body heat back toward you and weigh almost nothing. But they are a supplement, not a full replacement for real insulation. Wool blankets, quality sleeping bags rated for cold temperatures, thermal base layers, insulated jackets, warm socks, hats, and gloves. These are what actually protect you when temperatures drop. Wool and synthetic fabrics retain insulating properties even when wet. Cotton is the wrong choice in cold, wet conditions. It absorbs moisture and accelerates heat loss rather than preventing it. Replace any cotton-heavy items in your emergency kit with wool or fleece alternatives. If you live somewhere with cold winters, this category moves near the top of your priority list. Hunger weakens you over weeks. Dangerous cold exposure can kill within hours. 9. Prescription medications and medical supplies. If anyone in your household depends on a prescription medication, you need an emergency reserve. Full stop. Speak with your doctor. Explain that you want to maintain a small backup supply for disaster preparedness purposes. Most physicians and pharmacies are willing to work with patients on this when the request is framed clearly. Consider what happens when pharmacies are flooded, closed, or simply unreachable for weeks. If you are diabetic and your insulin runs out. If you have a serious heart condition and your medication is inaccessible. If you have asthma and your inhaler is empty. These are not minor inconveniences. These are medical emergencies. Stock over-the-counter medications as well. Pain relievers, fever reducers, antihistamines, antacids, anti-diarrheal medication, cough suppressants. Keep everything organized in a clearly labeled, waterproof container and check expiration dates on a regular schedule. If anyone in your home uses medical equipment, a CPAP machine, a nebulizer, or a blood glucose monitor, research battery-powered or manual backup options now. A power outage should not mean your medical needs go unaddressed. 10. Important documents. In the aftermath of a serious disaster, proving who you are can become shockingly difficult. Your home might be destroyed, your filing cabinet might be underwater, your computer might be completely gone, and without documentation, accessing emergency assistance, filing insurance claims, and reaching your bank accounts becomes a bureaucratic nightmare. Make copies of every critical document you own: driver's license, passport, birth certificates, social security cards, insurance policies, medical records, mortgage documents, vehicle titles, bank account information. Store physical copies inside a fireproof and waterproof container. Store digital copies on a secure USB drive and also on a cloud storage service you can access remotely from any device. This process is tedious. It is also one of the most important administrative tasks you can complete before a disaster. When you are standing in a relief center and someone asks for your insurance policy number or proof of address, you will be grateful for the boring work you did ahead of time. 11. Cash in small denominations. When the power goes down, every card reader, ATM, and digital payment system goes with it. Your credit card becomes useless plastic, your banking application becomes a blank screen. Cash is the only form of currency that remains functional when infrastructure collapses. And not large bills. Small denominations. Ones, fives, tens, and 20s. If you hand someone a $100 bill for a $5 item during a crisis, you are almost certainly not getting change back. Keep enough cash on hand to cover several days of basic expenses, including food, water, fuel, and emergency supplies. Store it somewhere secure but easily accessible, sealed in a waterproof bag inside your emergency kit. In extended emergencies, bartering also becomes real and practical. Having extra batteries, sealed food, hygiene supplies, or other high-demand items can carry the same value as cash. Think about what people will desperately want and make sure you have some surplus. 12. Physical maps and a compass. Your phone's navigation system requires cell towers, satellite connectivity, and battery power. In a major disaster, you may have access to none of those things. If you need to evacuate and cannot pull up a map on your phone, what is your actual plan? Get physical maps of your local area, your surrounding region, and your designated evacuation routes. Learn how to read them properly. Understand scale markings, terrain indicators, and road classifications. Pair them with a reliable compass and practice orienting yourself and plotting a basic route. This is not a complex skill. A single afternoon of focused practice is enough to get comfortable with it. But when you need it urgently. Getting lost while evacuating a dangerous area is not just inconvenient. It can be fatal. Do not let your navigation ability disappear along with your phone battery. 13. Fire starting supplies. Fire has been central to human survival for hundreds of thousands of years. It cooks food and eliminates bacteria. It purifies water. It provides warmth. It provides light. And it provides something less tangible but genuinely important, a psychological anchor during a difficult situation. A fire makes a bad circumstance feel slightly more bearable. Waterproof matches. A couple of reliable lighters. Fire starter cubes or sticks. Dryer lint packed into empty cardboard toilet paper tubes is one of the most effective and cheapest DIY fire starters available. A magnesium fire starter as a last resort backup option. These items cost almost nothing and take up minimal space. Here is the part most people skip. Practice starting fires before you actually need to. Do it in your backyard. Learn what materials work well as tinder and kindling. Learn how to keep a fire going in wet or windy conditions. These are not skills you can successfully improvise in the middle of a crisis with cold shaking hands and rain coming down. Practice now, so the skill is already there when you need it. Also understand fire safety in enclosed spaces. If you are using fire indoors for warmth or cooking, ventilation is absolutely non-negotiable. Carbon monoxide buildup in a sealed space will kill you without any warning whatsoever. Crack a window. Make sure air is moving. Never fall asleep with a fire burning in an enclosed area. More people die from carbon monoxide poisoning during winter power outages than most people are aware of. Fire is an enormously useful tool. It is also unforgiving when treated carelessly. 14. Home security and personal protection. This is a topic I wish was unnecessary to address, but the historical record of virtually every major disaster is consistent on this point. When social order breaks down, even temporarily, opportunistic crime increases. Looting and theft happen. That is documented reality, not speculation. Secure your home. Reinforce the most vulnerable entry points. Doors and windows are where breaches almost always occur. Heavy-duty deadbolts, window locks, and security bars provide meaningful deterrence. Motion-activated lights running on battery or solar power discourage people who prefer to operate in darkness. Personal protection choices are a personal decision based on your comfort level, local laws, and the training you have completed. Pepper spray, personal alarms, and other non-lethal tools are widely legal and available in most areas. Whatever you choose, make sure you have actually trained with it. An untrained person carrying a self-defense tool is more likely to create problems than solve them. Establish a family communication plan. Designate a safe interior room where your household can regroup during dangerous moments. Know your neighbors. A community that looks out for itself, shares resources, and coordinates responses consistently survives better than isolated individuals trying to handle everything alone. The idea of going it completely solo in a serious emergency sounds appealing in theory. The reality consistently proves otherwise. Take 5 minutes to introduce yourself to the people on your street and exchange contact information. That simple conversation could matter enormously at the right moment. 15. Portable cooking stove and fuel. You can technically eat cold canned food, but after several days of nothing but cold canned meals, your morale is going to be in serious trouble. A hot meal does something for the human spirit that cold food simply cannot replicate. It provides comfort. It creates a small sense of normality. It is a reminder that things have not completely fallen apart. A compact camping stove running on butane or propane is affordable, portable, and simple to operate. Stock enough fuel canisters to last through your emergency planning window and store them safely away from living areas and heat sources. Learn how to operate the stove before any emergency situation arises. A crisis is not the time to read instruction manuals for the first time. Your portable stove also allows you to boil water for purification, heat water for hygiene purposes, and prepare dehydrated or freeze-dried meals that require hot liquid. It is a versatile tool that justifies its place in your kit many times over. Now for some bonus items that most people overlook entirely, but that could matter as much as anything else on this list. 16. Plastic sheeting and tarps. Most people do not think about this category, and that is a genuine oversight. Heavy-duty tarps and thick plastic sheeting have an enormous range of applications during an emergency. A roof that is leaking? Cover it with a tarp. Need to collect rainwater? Spread plastic sheeting. Need to keep yourself dry on the ground? Tarp underneath you. Need to build a fast temporary shelter? Plastic sheeting and paracord accomplish that surprisingly well. These materials are cheap, lightweight, and packed down small. Grab a couple of quality tarps and a roll of thick plastic sheeting. You will find practical uses for them faster than you expect. 17. Whistle and signal mirror. If you are ever trapped, lost, or separated from your group, yelling wears out your voice quickly and does not carry far. A whistle carries significantly farther than the human voice, requires almost no physical effort to use, and cuts through ambient noise that would drown out screaming. 3 short blasts is the internationally recognized distress signal. A signal mirror operates on a similar principle over longer distances during daylight hours. The reflected flash of sunlight can be spotted from miles away by rescue aircraft or search teams on the ground. Both items weigh almost nothing and cost less than a single cup of coffee. Attach one to every emergency bag you own. 18. Written emergency contact information. Almost everyone's contact information lives exclusively inside their phone. When your phone is dead, broken, or lost, can you actually recall your spouse's number from memory? Your parents' number? Your doctor's number? Your insurance provider? Probably not. Write every critical phone number, address, and piece of contact information down on a physical card. Laminate it. Keep one copy in your emergency kit, one in your vehicle, and one in your wallet. This takes less than 5 minutes and solves a problem that could otherwise leave you completely cut off from your entire support network when you need it most. 19. Entertainment and comfort items. This one might seem out of place on a survival list, but hear it out. Extended emergencies are grinding, stressful, and psychologically exhausting, especially for children. A deck of cards, a few books, coloring supplies for kids, a journal, a pen. These take up almost no space and deliver real mental health benefits during a prolonged, difficult situation. Stress, boredom, and anxiety during a crisis are genuine threats. They lead to poor decision-making, household conflict, and deteriorating mental resilience over time. Keeping your mind occupied and preserving some sense of normality is not a luxury. It is a practical strategy. A household that can sit together and play a simple game during a power outage is a household that is managing. Do not pretend you are too tough for a book or a board game when your mental state is a resource you genuinely need to protect. A puzzle, a harmonica. Whatever gives your brain something productive to engage with instead of spiraling into worst-case thinking at 2 in the morning. Pack it. 20. Pet supplies. If you have animals, they need to be part of your emergency plan. Extra food, extra water, any medications they require, copies of veterinary records, a leash and a carrier, waste bags, a familiar comfort item like a blanket or a favorite toy that can reduce their stress during a chaotic situation. In evacuation scenarios, many emergency shelters do not accept pets. Find this out now rather than during the emergency itself. Identify pet-friendly shelters, hotels, or friends and family members who could house your animals if needed. Leaving a pet behind should be the absolute last resort, and proper planning makes sure it does not come to that. 21. Portable power bank and solar charger. Your phone may be useless for calls or internet access during a disaster, but it still holds your photos, stored documents, offline emergency guides, and contact information. Keeping it charged is worth the effort required to do so. A high-capacity portable power bank can provide several full charges for your device. A foldable solar charger can keep replenishing that power bank as long as there is sunlight available. Together, they give you a sustainable way to maintain at least some of your electronic capability throughout an extended emergency. Get a power bank with at least 20,000 milliamp hour capacity. Pair it with a foldable solar panel built for outdoor conditions. Charge everything before storm season begins and keep it stored in your kit. And do this right now while you still have internet access. Download offline maps to your phone. Download first aid reference guides. download basic survival manuals. When your connectivity disappears, all of that stored information on your charged device becomes a library that fits in your pocket. Here is the thing about all of this. None of it is complicated. None of it requires special expertise or significant wealth. What it requires is the decision to act before something forces you to. Every person who has ever lived through a major disaster and came out the other side intact made choices ahead of time. They built their supply. They made their plan. They practiced the basic skills. And when everything fell apart around them, they were not starting from zero. The people who struggle most in emergencies are not the unlucky ones. They are the ones who assumed it would never happen to them, or who told themselves they would get around to it eventually. Eventually is too late when the power is already out and the shelves are already empty. You do not have to build your entire emergency kit overnight. Start with water. Get that sorted this week. Then add food. Then the first aid kit. Work through the list progressively. Each item you add is one less vulnerability in an already difficult situation. The goal is not to become someone who lives in constant fear of disaster. The goal is to become someone who can handle one calmly when it comes, because they have already done the thinking and the preparation ahead of time. That peace of mind is worth more than any individual item on this list. If this video helped you think about your own preparedness differently, give it a like and share it with someone in your life who needs to hear this. This is my channel, and we cover exactly this kind of real-world, practical information here. Drop a comment below telling me which item on this list you are going to tackle first. I read every single one. Now go get prepared.